You're watching the show that puts Mid-Michigan news in focus. This is Focal Point. I'm Daniel Hamburg here at the Capitol, where a group of bipartisan lawmakers are looking to pass a package of bills to improve the juvenile justice system.
Later on Focal Point, what might not be buzzing around the Capitol?
Punt formation for Michigan.
And we'll show you the ending to the rivalry game that has been called one of the best plays in college football history. Focal Point starts now.
Hello, I'm Kiera Lake.
And I'm Daniel Hamburg. Welcome to Focal Point. The annual Michigan State game had a surprise ending that's still being talked about a week later.
That's right, Daniel. An improbable victory for the Spartans. It only took 10 seconds to turn emotions upside down. And for Focal Point, Brett Cass was on the field to capture the celebration. Brett?
Yeah, thanks, Kira. It only took 10 seconds to silence the largest stadium in the country, and that's with Ranger 410. Now, that's the name D'Antonio gave the play that ended the Michigan State football game on Saturday, and it's one that will undoubtedly be remembered for years and years to come.
Anyone who was watching this game and there was no shot for us to win, and then for that to happen and go down, it's kind of lost for words.
Not only was Connor Cook at a loss for words, but the entire stadium was feeling the same way, trying to comprehend what they just saw.
What just happened? What the hell just happened?
I didn't know what was happening, man. I was just like, I was with all you. Some green, some blue. I was just like, everybody just probably, the mouths just dropped to it.
Once the clock read zeros and Jalen Watts-Jackson was lying in the end zone, the majority of those still in the big house were stunned silent. But the rest, they went crazy.
Honestly, it just felt like a dream. I was running over to our student section, our parent section, to go celebrate with my family, and I jumped up there, and it honestly I've never felt anything like that. Like, honestly, just felt like I was in a dream, like completely crazy.
While many of the fans had previously thought the game was over, the Spartans never gave up.
Not at all. I didn't think it was over. When the punt team went out there, I told them, I said, just believe.
I think it's the culture that we have on our football team, and our guys just continue to play, and we believe in each other.
You know, believe in each other, believe in yourself, and just keep pushing forward. And of course, we believed in ourselves. Everyone on that field felt that they were going to block the punt.
A belief system that led to one of the most improbable finishes in college football history and keeps the Spartans' undefeated record intact.
We're gonna win this game! Fight, fight, Rodney, fight! Victory for MSU!
Wow, what a truly amazing finish at the Big House. Well, we'll have more on that game and the atmosphere in Ann Arbor later in sports.
Certainly a game we won't soon forget, and looking forward to seeing more highlights later in the show. Well, in the last 10 years, more than 20,000 youth have been convicted as adults in the state of Michigan, but a package of 22 bills in the state house is looking to curb those numbers. All it takes is a bad decision. Alicia Johnson knows that all too well.
I stole from my job to pay for the rent, and I just stole enough to pay for my first month's rent. But in that was the biggest, mistake that I'd have to live with until now.
At 17, struggling to get by as a single mom with a minimum wage job, Alicia got caught up in the system.
I got charged when I was 17, but they held the proceedings off to make sure that it happened when I was 18, I guess.
Even though her case was prolonged, she still committed the crime as a minor. And Michigan is only one of 9 states that still automatically prosecute 17-year-olds as adults in the court system. People like Alicia are hoping that lawmakers can change that for others.
At 16, your brain is still developing. At 17, you're automatically charged as an adult in this state.
Representative Peter Lucido is the main sponsor on the bill to raise the age.
The bill and package of bills that we put in was for juvenile justice as it relates to taking a 16-year-old and saying to a 16 and 17-year-old, there's a difference between you two.
He wants to see the bar move to 18 because he says people make mistakes in their last year of high school.
We're entitled to make mistakes when we're young. But we should also be forgiving. We should also be using what's called rehabilitation in lieu of going ahead and doing this, incarcerating.
The package of bills are based on a recommendation from a report called Youth Behind Bars. Kristen Staley is with the Michigan Council on Crime and Delinquency that produced the report.
These bills are really just putting Michigan back in line with the rest of the country, that 17-year-olds are, overwhelmingly majority of them are nonviolent offenders.
Alicia Johnson took a plea deal that included paying the state $26,000. And even though she never went to prison, she has certainly suffered.
I don't want to ever downplay what it's like to be in prison, because I don't know. But what I do know is I've been in prison on the outside. There really needs to be systemic change, and we need to stop incarcerating our kids.
With bipartisan support, that change is possible very soon. If the bills pass, prosecutors still have discretion to waive minors up for violent and heinous crimes.
Drones have been a hot topic on a lot of people's mind recently since the United States military using them for fighting warfare. However, a new package of bills may ban even more peaceful drones around the Capitol grounds. This leaves some people concerned about how they'll be being used safely. Focal Point's Matt Miller has the story.
Ryan Laudriette takes a lot of pride in his photography of the Lansing Capitol.
Incredible works that otherwise couldn't be done with manned aircraft.
He likes to use drones. Technology is becoming more and more popular.
But it's covered by liability.
A drone is any vehicle that is controlled but not manned. But he knows there are some issues of safety.
You're going to do your pre-flight checklist to make sure that your drone is in operating order. Impact somebody with a rotor on the ground, they might receive a bruise. There's no problems with your batteries, no problem with your props. You're looking at all the aspects of the operation.
In addition, Laudriette says makes a conscious effort to avoid people and property.
Making sure that you're clear of property that you could damage or harm.
However, there are some at the Capitol who are looking for greater regulation for drones.
Senator Rick Jones has put forward a bill that asks for a fine and jail time for anybody flying over the Capitol ground.
Currently, anybody can fly drones around the Capitol. Obviously, that's a hazard to students visiting and tourists. So the nonpartisan Capitol Commission contacted us and said we'd like to have a law drafted.
Laudriette says that there's already federal laws in place that contradict what Senator Jones is doing.
The properties of that bill go against the FAA regulations.
Drone bans aren't unheard of. The National Parks Director, Jonathan Jones, told the tech magazine CNET that they were banning drones around park grounds in order to protect wildlife.
The building is very historic and we don't want drones crashing into the Capitol.
However, Senator Jones says that there haven't been any incidents with drones so far.
Not at this point, but there have been some drones buzzing the Capitol.
This bill was only recently introduced to Michigan legislator, but Senator Jones believes he has some pretty good support in the Capitol. Matt Miller, Focal Point News.
It may be some time before the House takes up the measure, with more important business to tend to, like Michigan roads.
Yeah, that's right. Michigan roads may get some much-needed repairs with recent legislation passing through the State House. The 9-bill package hopes to raise an additional $600 million for road repairs. Many of these funds will come from an increase in the gas tax by a little over 3 cents, as well as increases in diesel taxes and increased vehicle registration fees. There's also a compromise plan that would provide $200 million for the homestead property tax credit.
Vice President Joe Biden announced this week that he will not be running for president. Suspicions that he would run on the Democratic ticket heightened after recent meetings with the president of International Association of Firefighters, Harold Schaeberger, and other top advisors. Biden mentioned that while grieving over the death of his son Beau, the time constraint to enter the race was too much to handle.
The process doesn't respect or much care about things like filing deadlines or debates and primaries and caucuses.
The vice president also mentioned that he will continue to be a strong voice for the Democratic Party.
A lot of people will like this one. An East Lansing bar is now allowed to serve beer to go. Crunchies, a staple around the area for decades, will serve growlers, large beer containers, and bottled beer, which have become popular in many local brew pubs. It's a chance for beer lovers to bring home a taste of their favorite brew, which may not be available in stores.
As a business, it just means a little bit of extra, hopefully a little bit of extra business for us. You know, it's in theory people who will be not taking up seats, you know, coming in to purchase beer to go.
The East Lansing City Council just approved the license last week, so they won't be able to provide their own growlers yet. For now, they can fill growlers brought in by their customers, though.
Those driving around Lansing have noticed the new billboard downtown to promote the city and its culture. The Greetings from Lansing mural was revealed on Michigan Ave directly above Nut House Sports Grill. Michigan artist Matthew Sharum painted the piece to resemble a vintage postcard. Each letter portrays the downtown nightlife, created to attract more visitors while adding creativity to the community.
And a mid-Michigan artist whose studio burned down is now celebrating a new beginning. Kimberly Levon decided it was time to purchase a new gallery after an electrical fire destroyed her studio and surrounding buildings in Old Town's Devon storage facility. Levon's new studio, Kimberly Levon, shows off her printmaking designs and offers hands-on classes. A lifelong artist and graduate of the Kendall College of Art and Design, Levon knew she couldn't give up hope even though she worried about the chances of another disaster.
And it was super great, but then it burned down, and printmakers need a studio to work because of the equipment. So because of the fire, I was super sad, and I didn't want to put my hopes and dreams into another building and watch it burn down again.
The studio is now open in a different location, and Levon will be holding classes beginning next month. And Back to the Future Day has finally arrived. The 1989 film Back to the Future Part 2 used October 21st, 2015 as the day when Doc Brown and Marty McFly traveled to the future. People have taken to social media comparing the predictions in the movie to how life has actually played out, one of which was winning the World Series. The Michigan State Police also get on the action by pulling over a DeLorean on the highway and wishing everyone a happy and safe Back to the Future Day.
Yeah, Daniel, I saw so much DeLorean stuff all over my timeline.
Oh yeah, after years and years of hoaxes, the day actually came.
Exactly.
Well, a new program is aimed at helping teens stay focused on the road.
And we remember journalism instructor Bonnie Buckaroo, who died this past week. On Campus Report is up next.
When do we give up? When do we just close our eyes and say, that's it? This water's too polluted. This disease too far along. To a Spartan, the answer is simple. Never. Because Michigan State was founded on the belief that our purpose is to make the world a better place. And when you're open to unconventional thinking, value people's differences, and are willing to forge true partnerships, then and only then can you solve the world's toughest problems. Like renewable energy, clean water, and Parkinson's disease. Because we know our true triumph lies in the impact we make on the world around us. And after all, if we don't do it, who will? Spartans will.
Thousands of teen drivers are lost in car accidents every year. Focal Point's Itanice McMiller has details on how local organizations are taking measures to protect teen drivers.
Jason Redowdy is the president of Mr. R's Driving School.
Best thing you can do for your world is drive safe.
And he's especially concerned with distracted driving.
Put your phone on a mode where you don't know if you're being contacted. So in other words, that stimuli is never introduced in the first place.
According to News Today, texting while driving is a leading cause of death for teens. When it comes to teen drivers, Redowdy says parents are their biggest influence.
Always frustrated, always talking junk to the other drivers on the road when they mess up. Your kids catch that.
But he says it's important parents take their children through difficult driving scenarios, for example, football games.
Pedestrians everywhere, everyone's drunk, there's cars parked, it's wall-to-wall traffic. Because guess what? They're going to have to navigate that by themselves at some point.
To help lower teen traffic incidents, parents have been working with the Michigan Sheriff's Association on a program called STOP, which stands for Sheriffs Telling Our Parents and Promoting Educated Drivers.
It's a voluntary program where a parent will fill out a card like this and mail it to the Sheriff's Association, or they can go online and register.
What I'm holding is a sticker parents receive once they've signed up for the program. You just stick it on your car like such. And this then allows police to pull your car over whenever they feel necessary.
Who's in the car, why they're in the car, where they're at, and so on.
The police fill out a card, send it to the Sheriff's Association, and then they notify the parents. For example,
your youngster got stopped at 2 o'clock in the morning in Stockbridge.
the STOP program is growing across the state, and officials say it's decreased teen crashes by 33%.
Like, okay, gradually more and more counties were doing it. So now, I don't know if everyone in the state is doing it, but it's pretty widely used.
STOP is an incentive for underage drivers to make smarter decisions behind the wheel. In Lansing, Denise McMiller, Focal Point News.
More than 40,000 drivers have registered for the STOP program nationwide. If interested in signing up your teen, visit misheriff.org for more information.
Friends, family, and faculty, along with current and former students, are remembering longtime journalism professor Bonnie Buckaroo.
A Michigan State faculty member is making waves to treat childhood cancer. Focal Point's Denise McMiller joins us for more stories on our campus report.
Thanks, Kiera. Students, faculty, and community members are mourning the loss of an influential instructor in the MSU School of Journalism. Bonnie Buckaroo, a longtime journalism professor, died last week after dealing with recent health issues. She touched the lives of many within the MSU community and throughout the media industry. A faculty member for nearly 30 years, Bonnie was a social activist who one time ran for political office. In addition to teaching, she ran a community news website and co-hosted a weekly radio show. The outpouring of support on social media shows the influence she has had on so many people. A memorial service and celebration of life is planned for 11 a.m. October 31st at People's Church in East Lansing. Earlier this month, tens of thousands of African-American men and women gathered on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. MSU students traveled to our nation's capital to make history themselves. Black leaders in the MSU community stood together as they listened to Minister Louis Farrakhan preach about the ongoing fight for social justice. Psychology senior Kenneth Jackson was one of the students that traveled the distance and has a close connection to the event.
To see us in a very positive light, to see us all gather for something that we all have a common goal for was probably the most moving and the most powerful thing that I could say that I've gotten from the walk.
Jackson's grandfather and other family community members attended the original march in 1955, also led by Farrakhan. A Michigan State professor has discovered a new treatment for neuroblastoma, a childhood cancer. Andre Batchman, a researcher in the College of Human Medicine, combined two common drugs known for treating other illnesses, such as bowel and African sleeping disorder. He found that the new combined drugs blocked protein promoting cancer growth. The drug is twice as effective opposed to previous treatment and will soon be evaluated. Students who are looking to take their studies overseas did some one-stop shopping at MSU's annual Study Abroad Fair. MSU faculty and students who have taken a trip abroad talked to interested students about their experiences and gave advice on how to choose the perfect program. Programs are open to all students of all majors with individual requirements set for each trip. Over 190 programs were on display at the Breslin, including undergrad research, internships, scholarships, and experiential learning opportunities. With a large variety of places and experiences offered, former study abroad students think it's important for students interested to step outside their comfort zone and try something new.
So if you're a medical student, don't go on a completely medical study abroad trip, or if you're a journalism student, maybe not choose a journalism study abroad. Use it as a way for you to research different aspects of something else you could be interested in.
MSU has one of the largest study abroad programs in the nation with more than 275 opportunities around the world. Good news for movie lovers, Roe v. Corp has donated a massive assortment of more than 850,000 DVDs to the MSU library. The new Roe v. Media collection is one of the largest assortments by a library in the country and includes both movies and games dating back to the inception of DVDs. The collection will enhance classes related to music, film studies, and gaming culture. That's what's happening on campus. I'm Itanise McMiller.
Yeah, that'll be a pretty cool collection to see. Thanks, Itanise. Well, people are still talking about the unexpected comeback during the Michigan State football game.
Brett Cass will take us back to Ann Arbor and have the full story on Spartan athletics next in sports.
Ever wonder where courage comes from? Where one finds the strength to believe in solutions that seem impossible? It takes a Spartan's will to understand that by working together we can solve the world's biggest problems, from renewable energy to fighting malaria. After all, if we don't do it, who will? Spartans will.
It's a game that will have Spartan and Wolverine fans talking for years to come. Now, the Michigan State rivalry always promises drama, but this year lived up to the expectations right to the very end. So let's check it out. To the big house we go. It's the battle for the Paul Bunyan Trophy, and it's the Wolverines who strike first. The big fullback, Sion Huma, powers his way in for the 2-yard score, and that was his first of the day. He finished with 3 carries for 30 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wolverines up 7-0 with that touchdown. Now on to the second half. 23-14 Michigan. Big 74-yard pass play put the Spartans on the end zone, but L.J. Scott doesn't wait for a reply. He just walks right into the end zone. 1-yard run, 23-21 Michigan. It stayed that way until just over 2 minutes left to play. MSU facing 4th and 19. Connor Cook's about to take the snap. This could be the game right here. Under pressure, he throws it up, and that Michigan secondary, we've heard all about them. They go up, knock it down. Everybody in the stadium thinks it's over, but we all know how this one ends with 10 seconds left. Michigan lines up for a punt, and the punter, Blake O'Neill. He's going to fumble the snap, and it's picked up by MSU's Jalen Watts-Jackson. He takes it to the house as time expires. Michigan State wins 27-23 in thrilling fashion. Now the Spartans remain undefeated and bring home Paul Bunyan for the 3rd year in a row.
Just find a way, and I think it's the culture that we have on our football team, and our guys just continue to play, and we believe in each other. And if we lost, we lost. But I knew that we played as hard as we could, and we left it on the field, and that's the most important thing to me.
Now, even before that crazy ending, the game was already in the spotlight. ESPN's College Game Day was in town, and you know what that means. The cameras are rolling, and time to get a little creative with the signs, but it appears everybody had the same idea. That's right, a lot of Jim Harbaugh. When I say a lot of Jim Harbaugh, I mean almost every single sign was Jim Harbaugh. Oh, and references to Big Brother, Little Brother, well, you could find plenty of that too. Now with the smack talk, the insults, it's the beauty of rivalries, but sometimes they can get a little out of hand. So the marching band, like they do every year, protected the Spartan statue all week during their annual Sparty Watch. Now, every night, dozens gather to drink some hot chocolate, dance, mingle, and spend the night guarding the statue. And of course, the week wouldn't be complete without the man of the hour, the head football coach, Mark D'Antonio, stopping by to the crowd to deliver some pizza and just say thank you. Now, Caleb Dorr, he helped organize Sparty Watch this year and made sure Sparty didn't get vandalized before the big game.
All these little social events from everything, just mix and mingle, which was Monday night tonight, which is Tailgate Tuesday, D'Antonio coming out, listening to music, exchanging names, shaking hands. It makes for a good experience.
Now the band, they did a fantastic job protecting Sparty, but those Wolverines, they got a little sneaky and went after another statue, the Magic Johnson statue, located outside of the Breslin Center. Now Beat State was painted on the base, an M on the chest, and blue covered the statue's backside. MSU Infrastructure and Planning Facilities said it took 2.5 days to clean, costing about $5,000. Now the wall behind Spartan's statue, demonstration hall, and steps of the Student Union were also vandalized. But enough of that Michigan game. We've talked about that all day. We're ready to move on, and so is Coach Mark D'Antonio. MSU takes on 4-3 Indiana this Saturday at Spartan Stadium, and Coach D'Antonio said his team needs to focus on the game ahead.
Obviously, the worst thing we can do is fall backwards here. So we need to continue to move forward, and our dreams are ahead of us, and they start this Saturday. So I think our players will be ready to play.
Now, injuries have plagued the Spartans all season long, but D'Antonio says that freshman Josh Butler and redshirt freshman Tyson Smith are expected to play. Now, it's almost time for MSU basketball, and that means it's time for the Izzone campout. But a new policy on Izzone tickets have some students concerned. Focal Point's Kiera Lake explains the new policy and how MSU says it will benefit everyone.
This is the 4th year John Etienne and Josh Wendell have attended the Izzone Campout, the annual tradition that allows students to purchase lower bowl student section tickets for MSU basketball games.
You know, I just like it, man. Best night of the year. Yeah, I would say the best night of the year.
Students set up their tents in Munn Field, where they enjoy all sorts of activities.
I hope tonight becomes a memory maker for you,
including a special appearance from Coach Tom Izzo and the basketball team. But while others enjoy the night, there are a few who are concerned, including sophomore Eric Savid.
I don't really like it because it's not like a one-time fee.
What he's talking about? A new fee structure for Izzone tickets.
It's $55 to be in the Izzone and then $10 a game.
In previous years, season tickets were a one-time fee, which included tickets to all home games and the Izzone shirt.
I mean, I understand why they're doing it, to make it easier on people so they can go to all the games that they can go to.
Izzone staff members believe this change will be good for turnout. Felicia Grisby works for the Izzone. She goes to all the home games and says more people will attend.
A lot of people are gonna, show up. They chose the game themselves, so there's less like selling it on StubHub or just not being able to go.
This year, students get to choose what games they want to go to.
You can buy 17, but you don't have to buy all of them.
The goal is to always have a packed student section, a problem that occurred in other years.
I would say it's probably a smart idea because the upper bowl doesn't always fill up.
And for the seniors that refer to themselves as...
Tell them what we call ourselves. The Izzo Knights.
A title they say is well-deserved.
We've had lower bowl every single year, and we've been like front row for every single game since freshman year.
But students are hopeful their concerns will go away once the season starts.
So I was a little scared at first, but it seems like we're going to be able to get first come, first serve on the games we want.
And focus more on cheering at all the basketball games. In East Lansing, Kiera Lake, Focal Point News.
Now, Michigan State will start the preseason ranked number 13 in the USA Today coaches poll, and their first home game will be November 4th against Northern Michigan. Now on to Michigan State soccer. They played a Big Ten rival, Penn State, so let's check it out and get to the action. It wasn't until the second half that both teams got their first point. Jason Stacy put MSU on the board. He steals the ball right here from the defense and immediately fires a shot right past the goalkeeper. That puts the Spartans up 1, but that lead was short-lived. It only took a couple minutes for Penn State to counter. And if you're ever looking for a good spot to stand, why not try in front of the net? Great spot for rebounds. The shot on the goalie, he makes the save, but the rebound and makes the finish. That ties the game up at 1, but it's crunch time. With only 3 minutes left, freshman defender Connor Corrigan scores, giving MSU the win 2-1.
You know, we had a lot of possession leading up to that after a pretty chaotic spell. After they scored their second goal, we were lucky to get into a rhythm, and I just got into the box and tried to make something happen.
Now, Michigan State will have their next home game October 28th against Oakland University. And that's all I have for sports this week. I'm Brett Cast.
Thanks, Brett. And finally, MSU's Department of Theater teamed up with the Wharton Center and MSU Federal Credit Union's Institute for Arts and Creativity this week to create a new musical.
This collaboration is part of the Imagine project, where local high school and college students have the opportunity to work with their leaders in Broadway industry.
You asked me to meet you, and you make that face.
The group sang the score from the upcoming performance For Tonight, a story about family ties and the bond between siblings.
I am stoked for this event. I'm really excited. I've been attached to this project for almost 3 years now, and so it's been a really exciting and long journey. And it's just so fulfilling to see a project blossom the way that this one has.
For Tonight performances will be held throughout the year at the Wharton Center. And that's our show for tonight. Thank you for joining us.
We leave you now with the sights and sounds of the Spartan Marching Band from the Big House at Michigan, a tribute to the Marvel Universe. Good night.
great match with this ball here. Junior Mark by day.